Alright, so the tactics that were used against me by the police. That's what they do when you go in alone. That's what they do when you try to turn in a police officer for not doing their job. Repeatedly, before Natalie was killed, I had gone into the police to try to get their help. I'd encouraged Natalie to give the police my phone number so they could call me. They just never did. They made zero effort at all. And then after she was killed, the police did everything in their power to cover up the wrongdoing of other officers. Now, there is documentation all over the place. The problem is, with no money for a lawyer, they get to do whatever the fuck they want. With the way they painted me, I can't go and see my loved ones. I can't go to my familiar places. I can't go to Chapel, Nebraska because of corrupt officers. I can't go to Boulder, Colorado because of corrupt officers. Officers who repeatedly broke the law across multiple jurisdictions. And it wasn't just them, the FBI as well, and the Secret Service. They can do whatever they want to you. If you're a male, or you're old, or you're unattractive, or you're a minority, these are just more factors that make it okay for them to do whatever the fuck they want. What they did to me has been declared unconstitutional repeatedly by the United States government. But they get away with it. And before Natalie died, I was trying to get someone to just stop and listen so that they could understand why it is that I was asking for their goddamn help. But nobody had time. People said they'd make time, and I'd go there, and at great expense to me, and never get anywhere. And it's not that these people didn't care, it's that they didn't care to listen. Something that continues to this day. People have their own ideas based on the parts that they got to see. And they only got to see the parts that these fucking wingnuts wanted to pick and choose and try to twist at a contortion and at a proportion, try to make it out like I was saying things that I wasn't, trying to make it out like I'm some sort of terrible excuse for a human being who's only out to hurt people. Meanwhile, what I proved is that these people can do this to me for a year and a half, but I do it once, and I get punished. These people can assault me whenever they want, but if I defend myself, I'm the one who's punished, not them. The Boulder Police Department, the things they've been doing to the homeless, I've got hundreds of homeless people's stories. I need somewhere for these stories to go. I need help getting these stories out there. I mean, homeless people aren't human beings to you. You don't want to see them. You're paranoid. You call in every homeless person that you see because you're paranoid. There's somebody suspicious. And then the cops harass them. They'll make something up. The cops don't give a fuck about you. Neither does the people in the neighborhood. You must deserve this. You must deserve whatever it is that got you homeless. And most of the time, it's domestic abuse. You, as the victim, end up homeless. You end up losing your kids, and people look down their nose at you and treat you like you're some sort of fucking animal for losing your kids. No, you lost your kids because you turned in a son of a bitch who was fucking raping them. In 80% of those cases, it's one or the other parent. Most of the time, it's the dad. 80%. People like that I'm honest until I'm honest about them. And then I'm a liar. I remember the good stories and the bad. I remember the positive and the negative about Miss Jerry, Miss Jenny, Natalie, Alycia, Maddie, Brandon, Sam, Veronica, Derek Apodaca, the guy who assaulted me, was claiming that he saw me drag Alycia Bollinger into the public restrooms up there in Boulder, Colorado on the Pearl Street Mall. He and I used to be friends. Matter of fact, the day that he assaulted me, I was fucking pretty excited to see him. It's like, yes, Thor's here. I haven't seen him in fucking year and a half. Nope. He wasn't happy to see me. He wasn't happy at all. And he wasn't just talking shit about me. He was talking shit about my older brother. This is Rabbit's brother, Sean. He's a fucking Mo. He's a fucking Mo. He grabbed Alycia and dragged her into the bathroom up there. Like, fuck you. Meanwhile, we got police refusing to do their jobs. And if you try to get them to do their jobs, or you try to turn them in, like what happened to Michelle Rodriguez and Donna Deathridge, myself, quite a few others. Todd Ryan Case, for example. Yeah, he's a minority too. Just so you know. They get the drugging treatment. They take you to a state facility, or a facility that's state friendly for state money. A place like Clearview, or a place like Fort Logan. These aren't good places. Clearview got into trouble for holding people longer than they should have a few years back. They held people longer than they should have because they wanted their insurance money. So when they got busted with the insurance scam, they started doing the homeless scam. Anybody the police have an issue with, anybody who is trying to turn in the police, who is stirring the mud, rocking the boat, trying to expose what's going on, these officers, they'll send you to one of these places. They will instigate a situation and play victim. This is what the police do. Oh, police don't do that. My uncle's a cop. Your uncle's a piece of shit for being a cop. Because your uncle, being a cop, knows that these things are going on. Is your uncle arresting them? No, if your uncle was a good fucking cop, he'd be fired or he'd be in jail. That's what happens to good cops. Good cops don't stay cops. These people are after ratings by whatever means possible. You don't want to see homeless, so they'll break the law so you don't have to see the homeless. Costs us a whole bunch of money we don't fucking have. We're trying to conserve our money and get unhomeless. Meanwhile, everything costs more when you're homeless. You have to buy prepared food. You don't have a place to cook it. You have to go buy something to use the bathroom in most places. And that's provided they're open. You get busted using the bathroom or sleeping. Boom! You got fucking $200 to $400 worth of fines easily. And then you got to take time off of work to go to court. And then you got to take time off of work so you can go do your community service. Because you're homeless and broke and people don't want to fucking see you. So you get all sorts of free labor, slave labor. And it goes to a bunch of different places in the community that get that slave labor. And then they get to say, well, look how many hours we volunteered. That wasn't volunteer hours, bitch. That was my fucking slave labor hours that you took advantage of. Meanwhile, the cost of keeping a homeless person in jail for 6 days is enough to pay for housing for 3 homeless people. You could pay for 12 homeless people to not be homeless for the cost of keeping one homeless person in jail for a month. That's just fucking stupid. Meanwhile, all this happened because Alycia Bollinger and Natalie Bollinger couldn't take the time to talk to me like I was a human being. Instead, they wanted to assume the worst in me, go spreading rumors, and not care about the consequences of that. The consequences for others. I do think about the consequences for others in everything I do. I worry about my loved ones, even the ones I'm fucking pissed off at. I do worry about Alycia. I do worry about Maddie. I do worry about Mandy Hughes and Alyssa Rainwater. But while I was being attacked publicly and hardcore by a lot of people, the help that I got for the most part was people who wanted to hide. Like, no, Sean, I'll help you, but I can't come forward. What do you mean you can't come forward? You're too afraid to come forward. I'm fucking standing up to all these fucking people, and you're too afraid to come forward. People are actually assaulting me. Are they actually assaulting you? They're actually threatening to kill me. Are they actually threatening to kill you? And what pisses me off most is that them son of a bitches didn't kill me. Katie Cahill, she just wasted my time. Just a whole bunch of time that I invested into believing that she would eventually fucking do something. She made a lot of promises. Hoping to find somebody who is sober enough to take up the fucking position. Sober. That's important. I stay sober for a reason. When you're at the point where you're dealing with your issues by getting fucked up every night on drugs or alcohol, and then complaining that you don't have any money because of homeless people or broke people, yeah, it's time for you to stop judging. But every time somebody judges me, I judge them back now. They don't like that. I already knew people didn't like that. That's why I accepted people despite their differences. Despite the fact that they thought differently than me and the fact that they were more violent than me, I still accepted them as human beings. I accepted them despite their imperfections. A lot of people had the impression while I was in Boulder that I was Jesus or something. Like, no, I'm not perfect, not even fucking close. What the police did with Natalie's death was fucking pathetic. It put me through hell. It put Natalie's family through hell. And it allowed a bunch of internet fucking wingnuts to destroy more lives. Kara Miles, a.k.a. Kara Johnson. Karamia. Layla Johnson, a.k.a. Layla Dunan, a.k.a. Missy Johnson. These are a lot of fucking crazy people that should have never had anything to do with Natalie or her case, or my case. It could have been resolved by two little girls who were actually adults. Look it up. Don't take these fucking psychos' word for it. Look it up. Me and Natalie didn't start hanging out until she was 18 years of age. Before that, I knew who she was because she was down there selling drugs for her fucking dad. The things that Alycia Rainwater said, I taped it. It's on my YouTube channel here. The things that Amanda Jonas said, I taped it. It's on my YouTube channel here. Either Amanda Jonas was lying or Alycia Rainwater was lying. Which one do I believe? Obviously not the officer, because I was there. The officer, Officer Amanda Jonas, along with Officer Amanda Jonas of Longmont, along with Officer Brian Valenzuela of Sheridan, a completely different county entirely, conspired with the Bollingers to prevent me from having a day in court. They did everything in their power to destroy me with opinion. Never looking at the facts, not once ever making any effort to collect evidence, and my public pretenders were the same way about it. No effort whatsoever, and Graham verified that. I got him taped on here too. Ken and Leah with their drug sales, and with the possibility that their son Gabriel might have gotten into some of their drugs, and that might be some of the issue for some of their problems they have with him. He was very young when he got into them mushrooms. But that ecstasy, that's a story that Tabby tells, and I recorded it on here too. That's the thing. When something like this happens, you need family in your corner. Family who cares. My family doesn't care. They never bothered at any point to find out what the fuck was going on. They wanted to judge me and tell me how to think and how to feel. Everyone does this to me. No, there is a reason that I think the way I do, and the reason that I feel the way that I feel. It's okay for you to have emotions. It's not okay for me. It's okay for you to get angry. It's not okay for me. It's okay for you to go to the cops when you feel that your family has been threatened. I can't even go to the cops when people are straight up literally threatening to kill my family. Don't give me your fucking bullshit. These cops do this nationwide. They cover for their brotherhood. They're worse than biker gangs. They're worse than the Crips. They're worse than the Bloods. They're worse than the tax man, for shit's sake. Because where you think you got laws that protect you, those very same laws can be twisted by officers however they see fit. And because they wear a badge, their word is worth more than yours. And when you're homeless and you're a male, people don't want to believe you. You should be out there working. It's your fault that you're homeless. Meanwhile, I aged out at the age of 18. Aging out of the system is completely different from graduating high school under your mommy and daddy's roof, getting a part-time job so that you can pay for a vehicle while you're living with your mommy and daddy, not paying rent, while I was busy buying food for my little brother and sister, and I didn't even fucking live at my mom's house at that point. I was out of my mom's house before I turned 17. My mom liked putting my stepdad's money up her nose instead of paying rent. And instead of buying food, she'd buy a week's worth of food for one person and expect it to last a whole month. Well, there's a reason that it stretched a whole month, and that's because I worked for a woman named Janet Roberts. She was Jamie Curtis's grandmother. I cleaned Cabela's corporate offices in Sidney, Nebraska. It was 4 to 4.5 hours a day. That's all the more I got. Plus I had to pay for gas and carpooling. So I wasn't making a mint. But I was still contributing to my family. I'm at a Starbucks I was at earlier in the year after I left my dad's house. I rescued a woman from out of the snow just 200 yards from here, I suppose, if that. I've gotten to help a few people since I've been back. Back when it made all the difference in the world, that would have been December of 2016 over at Miss Peach's. That would have changed everything if she could have made the time. But I understood why she couldn't. And then after Natalie died, well, I suppose there's 3 points where things really could have changed. There's that point at Miss Peach's house in December of 2016. There was Natalie's mother on the 8th of December of 2017. And there was Candace in January of 2018. If Candace hadn't pulled the shit that she had pulled, things could have gone a lot different. The cops, what they did on January 6th, well, what they did from when Natalie disappeared until January 6th, when I was assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai. That entire time, I just needed someone to go in with me to make the cops do their jobs, so the cops wouldn't blow me off. They are more likely to do their job if you go in with someone. They are more likely to record it instead of trying to pull some shiesty bullshit and lying on the stand. If someone goes in with you. But no, it wasn't until fucking July or August that people were finally willing to go in with me. Like, holy fuck, people, I've been through hell. I have gone to court date after court date after court date, continuance after continuance after continuance. All of my money is gone before I get it every month. I'm having to depend on others to send me money, and I shouldn't have to. None of this should have ever happened. Alycia Bollinger and I should be locked in a room together. If it's a safety issue, then she can get bolted to one end of the table and I'll get bolted to the other, and we can discuss this like fucking adults. Jesus Christ. You fucked up wench. How the fuck can you say anything in the name of Jesus after everything you've done, Alycia? Would have been as simple as telling the truth. Talking to me like a human being instead of assuming the worst in me, fucking talking shit about me so that people who want to impress you are coming out and fucking actually assaulting me. I don't want physical confrontation, so I can't see my loved ones in those areas because I have to deal with your fucking crackhead friends. In Jesus' name, right?